Welcome to this video. This is a new 25-10 game. I'm white against Frank Nautilus. He's very high, very low rated here. Let's see what we get. Yeah, still as in the early stages of that pool. So we got a Queen's Gambit Tarrasch defense. Yeah, I'm playing with. Okay, well, actually, I recently had a look at a line there with bishop g5 that I found interesting. Maybe I can do that, like knight c3, knight c6, and then bishop g5. Let's try that. It's an interesting sideline. g3 is the main move and probably the best move, but you don't have to play the absolute main lines every game. Bishop g5 is interesting. Okay, I'm going to take. And now, do I go e3 or do I capture? I forgot it. If I go e3 now, he... Yeah, well, c4, it doesn't look very dangerous. Still... Oh, wait, if I take, he actually can play d4. Well, not sure how good it is. But anyway, b3, sorry, e3, c4, b3. What is the problem there? Queen a5. I have rook c1. Now probably I can start with that move here. He just captures. Okay. So I don't want to take with the pawn. That's just too dry. Oh, he's trading stuff. That's very comfortable for me now. g7 is attacked, and I'm very quick with pressurizing the d pawn. Yeah, castles. I wonder, should I like rook d1, bishop e6? He's got knight f5 and possibly d4 coming, or knight c6 and then d4. That's something to be aware of. Maybe that is not. Maybe it is not that clear. I think rook d1, but I have to be always aware that my development of the king side is not so great, so he might have something like bishop e6 that looks pretty, well, not forced, but close to that. Queen a5. Yeah, that was the only other move that I could think of, but I wasn't really sure that it helps. If I go b4 now, he will probably play queen a3. Yeah. It's not great for him, but still quite messy. So what to do? I mean, he cannot play the knight. I'd always take d5. The normal looking move is just bishop e2. I only wonder if I have something more forceful. No, probably not. So if he goes knight c6, next move I can go, yeah, various ideas actually. I can go to f4 or just to d2. I wonder if bishop b5 maybe would have been interesting. Just looking at that c6 square and be ready to capture a knight once it comes to c6. I mean, okay, it wasn't really essential, but still interesting question. So what now? He's ready to play knight c6 and possibly d4. Yeah, bishop f3, yeah. It's the again the simple move. Yeah, that looks very, very normal. But still, he's got knight c6 and possibly d4. Huh, it's not that that straightforward. Still wonder about that b4 idea, but he probably even can play queen to b6. b4 is not particularly great, I guess. So any way to do it, maybe like a3, or can I voluntarily move the queen and just step out of that issue? Queen f4 maybe. Queen f4. Yeah, I like that move. That also allows me to play b4 under some circumstances, like knight c6, queen f4, queen b6. Yeah, seems that knight b5 was a move that irritated him. Okay. Not very troubling for me that he puts more on light squares. Yeah, I'm very good here with attacking the pawn. I've got lots of pressure on it. Blockading is not as good. I just hope that I'm right in with the assumption that he's not really getting to play d4. Knight c6, queen f4, d4. I think I can really just take. That's an interesting move. Bishop f3 increased the pressure, but also neglected the c4 square. Yep, that's true. So how to play it? I wonder if I really should regroup the knight to be there in control of d4. Something like queen to d2. Queen d2 also hints at some knight discoveries. Hints at some, like knight takes d5. He can answer rook d5 at the moment, so it's not a huge problem, but still. If I go e4, he will go knight c6 and then d5, d4, so that's no good. If I go back to d2, preparing like knight e2, he might have d4, e takes d, bishop b3. Nah, I don't believe it. So I don't think that this is so great. It's also b7 hanging, so that's not so easy for him to play d4. Yeah, this has two ideas. Sometimes knight takes d5 is a move. Currently it's not threatened because knight d5 we can play rook d5 and it should be okay. Knight d5, rook d5, bishop takes d5, queen takes d2, and that's not that great. But still, it is this a possibility that he has to take into account. Yeah, and knight to e2. That's it seems that he was a bit irritated by that prospect of knight takes d5. I don't think it really threatened, but yeah. So knight e2, or is there something else? One point is that with the king on f8, I might have moves that take h7, tempo moves. Yeah, I mean, knight e2 is the technical way to do it. Let's just play it in a technical fashion. Yeah, he didn't play bad chess this game. It's a bit passive, Black's game, but it's not terribly bad or anything. Against a very good defender is certainly, or will certainly be able to to play this position in Black and not lose it. The bad thing about it is it's very one-sided. It's a very little hope for him to ever win this game. Yeah, that's pretty much clear. He's just too passive. I'm still keeping the option open to play knight to c3. If he plays rook d to c8 now, anticipating knight d4, rook c1, I will probably go knight c3 and increase the pressure. Yeah, increase the pressure on that pawn. Yeah, why not? I'm not obliged to play knight d4 under all circumstances. Of course, I'm not really threatening to take d5 at the moment. Technically speaking, I am, but at the end of this line, he will have rook to c2, which should be okay. He is active enough. So even a move like, I don't know, f6 or something wouldn't just give me the pawn. I mean, knight d5, everything gets taken, rook c2. I cannot go rook d2 then because of the trade and rook c1 back rank mate. That's a thing. Okay, so he decided to go for the passive approach. Yeah, so e4. Yeah, he might take that. Probably not e4. Sorry. Yeah, I guess maybe like, do I go g3 here to make sure that I'm not back rank mated? Maybe. h3 was also possible. It was difficult to decide between g3 and h3. Yeah, he put up a purely passive defensive formation. Sometimes those passive setups really do hold. I mean, it's largely unpopular and gets normally bashed by chess commentators, the purely passive defense, with some justification, but in some cases it really is the way to do it. Just sit tight and try to weather the storm. I mean, black really has no active thing that he can do here. So he just has to be content with that with that fortress-like setup, let's say. Yeah, fortress is maybe the wrong word, but yeah, it's, as I said, it's purely defensive in nature. Yeah, now he thinks a bit longer. He was playing rather quickly earlier. And he played some rather committal moves after very short time spent. Now he takes far longer. I hope it's not a disconnection or something. That's especially awkward, yeah, after like 16 minutes of video, the other guy disconnects. That's bad, or would be bad, but doesn't seem to be the case. He's just thinking for a longer time. Yeah, am I threatening to take on d5? That's an interesting question. Probably not, huh? Everything gets taken and rook c2 again. Should be active enough. Black can play sort of a small improvement move. No, he's not. Okay. That's not necessary, but at the same time, it's not terrible. Okay. Getting the king over here, like king f1, king e2. Maybe. It's a bit difficult. I mean, he really doesn't have many options. He cannot move any of his pieces. The rook to the c file, of course, but that's really all there is. I wonder how I should play from here. Pawn to e4. He can go possibly d4, but he can also just take. And taking is enough to convince me that it doesn't lead anywhere. I wonder, is knight... No, probably not. Knight a4 an idea, was my thought. Yeah, well, as I said, he is not able to play something active in this position. How can I increase my control here a little bit? I wonder. What about bishop g2, f4? Is that an idea? Nah, not sure. It's also rather weakening. I'd like to use the king, really. That would be great. Somehow get the king centralized. But I don't know if king over to e2 is leading too much. Yeah, as I said, it's passive, but it's still not easy to get anywhere. I can try. What about if I? Yeah, it's an interesting idea. Let's try that. Knight to c5. If I get knight to c5 and possibly like, I mean, b4 is something that I maybe have to play a little bit later. But knight on c5 would pretty much paralyze the whole queenside. He cannot move the b pawn then. Yeah, sorry for that noise. You probably heard that. It's my new coffee maker. It sometimes makes weird noises when it it switches off after a while. After you've made a coffee, and it makes those those noises. Okay, wow, that is not very active, to put it mildly. So, wow. Okay. So let's jump into it. To knight to c5. Rook d6, knight b7 loses the exchange, so he has to go to c7. And now that's interesting. Now I can take now on e6 and play e4. That's definitely good for some advantage, but is it enough? That's the real issue. Or do I play b4? Is b4 the better move? I go b4. It's difficult. I mean, d5. You can play knight e7 though to defend d5. One issue is if I take e6 and go e4, and he plays something like knight e7, no? e5, e5, bishop d5, everything gets traded on d5. Bishop d5, knight d5, rook d5, rook d5, rook d5, and then we have a pure rook endgame, and he plays rook c2, and I'm not winning this at the end. That's the problem. He still has this activity. I can play b4. One thing that I'm just thinking of. What happens actually if I'm playing? I can move the king, of course. If I put a rook on the c5, I'm threatening knight takes e6, winning the rook. But he can move the king simply. If I go b4, that's knight b6. That's a real nuisance. Okay, I can go e4 then. And knight c4. And rook d3, knight b2 is very awkward. Don't have a great square. Yeah, but taking e4, as I said, it's a bit lame. Okay. Yeah, knight b6 looks like the most obvious move, or knight e7. But knight b6 has this knight c4 idea, so I'm expecting knight b6, not the totally passive knight e7. Yeah, one key idea is e3 to e4. In some cases I will do that, like knight e7, e4 looks good. But if he goes knight b6 and I play e4, he's going to go knight c4, and I don't really have a great reply to that. He's forking a3 and d2, and rook d3, knight b2 is quite embarrassing. Yeah, so knight b6, I have to do something different. One thing that I was thinking of was rook d4. So that knight c4, I can just take it because of that pin on the d file there. Maybe knight b6 looks very very normal here, very obvious. Here we go. Okay. I mean, rook d4 intending e4 is not bad. Just that I wonder if there's something better. What is he playing after that? Moving, like, let's say rook d to c8. Yeah, it's not so clear what my next move is then. e4. Yeah, maybe still e4 actually. If he takes it, bishop e4, the pressure on b7 is quite substantial. Okay. Rook dc8. I was thinking even then e4. D takes e4, bishop takes e4. And b7 is tough to defend. Okay, rook b8. That's really, really passive. Yeah, so I was thinking e4 takes, bishop takes. Yeah, I think I should do that. That was my plan. Hesitating there, probably no good. So I finished my coffee. Let's see what I can do in this game. So yeah, he has to take it, right? There's no big alternative. Otherwise, I just take it on d5. I don't see any meaningful, alternative. I mean, some kind of counter attack or anything. It's really not obvious. Okay. Going to take it. You know, that's interesting. I'm actually threatening the pawn on h7. I didn't really see that. I was just thinking, okay, the pressure on b7 is quite annoying, but I'm really threatening knight takes e6, fe6, bishop h7. That's very, very nice.
Black resigns.
Wow. He just resigned? Okay. Wow. You know, you're on video. You're supposed to play it out. Okay, it is a very bad position, but still, I was expecting, him to continue. Yeah, the thing is, I can really take that pawn on h7. It took me a long while to really understand that, but I can take it. Rook b8, and now I can just take and take, and this is really awkward. Or maybe I can even take there immediately, because the taking is always problematic because of g6, but here it's not going to be a problem at all. So I can take h7, just grab that, and I still have that very active position here. Let's do a recap of that game. So we got the Tarrasch, bishop g5, bishop e7. Now bishop e7 is the most solid move there. There's also f6 for the more adventurous people. Yeah, sometimes black really has that option to go g5. I think even here it is a move, but it's very very sharp. Bishop e7 takes, and now I played here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can also take, but I wasn't sure if that's a good idea. So e3, and he took on d4. Knight takes, and knight takes d4. That's a bit obliging to take, because he simply develops my queen, and it's not a particularly bad square on d4. I think like castles or queen b6, those kind of moves look more normal, let's say. Yeah, okay, rook d1 here. I went to e2, that looks also logical, retaining that option of the pressure. Castles, rook d8 and a3. A3 was a kind of I don't know what to do move a little bit. I mean, it had some ideas, but it wasn't so clear how to continue from here. White has a pretty obvious advantage, but it's still a small one. Yeah, it's clear that white is better, but it's not a super great situation where I'm winning easily or anything like that. So I went here, small move, went a6. Yeah, that doesn't hurt much, but it also doesn't help much. Bishop f3. Yeah, the drawback is that it neglects that square here, but puts pressure on the pawn. Rook here and queen d2. Yeah, the engine suggests this move. I was irritated by this, but it's probably not really an issue. Well, okay, I don't think that this is particularly bad. Queen d2, king f8. Yeah, that's helping me. I think he was afraid of knight d5, but that wasn't really threatening. If he plays a slowish move, I cannot really take because of that. Yeah, this is the best I can get, and that's not attractive at all. So he wasn't forced, or it wasn't forced to play king to f8. Okay, I went to e2, tame, but keeps some advantage for sure. Rook there, and now I went with the doubling. c8. Yeah, now that's certainly, or maybe something that he didn't anticipate that much. He was maybe thinking exclusively on that I play knight d4, but okay, I didn't. He went here, and I played g3. Yes, little improving move. It's difficult to play it without any caballo for the king, so has to be played. Rook d8. Yeah, and he's, I think, step by step worsening his situation. I'm not threatening on d5 again. If he plays, let's say this move, yeah, I cannot really take here. Oh wait, maybe we can even do this here, right? Even oops, bishop g4. Sorry, even this is not bad. But I was thinking that this is also completely sufficient. b4, rook here. Yeah, it's a draw, right? I mean, it's let's be precise. Rook b6. You start with a5 even. b5. Yeah, and that's it. And draw. Yeah, okay, black has to play that still, but it is a draw. That is the best that he can get, of course. I mean, that's really the best. Losing that pawn under favorable circumstances. But I'm not threatening on d5. He can really play a move that is not giving away this this idea with knight c5. Yeah, knight c8. Nah, that's probably. I think he can go back. In that case, I have all the options. I can also just drop back to c3. Maybe I have to. But this is now just nice. I went b4. Yeah, this is also an interesting move, threatening knight e6, winning immediately with check. Interesting. I was thinking he can do this, but the comp points out a move like this. That's interesting. Intending to double here. Yeah, with a pretty good advantage. But b4 it's not bad. Knight b6. And I went to d4. Yeah, the engine wants to play e4. But I didn't like it. Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't entirely sure. But you know, if you continue that line, probably d6 will be very, very strong. This one, maybe?
Check. Check.
Yeah, black is struggling here. Yeah, e4 would have been good. This keeps an advantage, but maybe not the best possible scenario. Now e4 is very strong, yeah. He has to improve here to retain a playable position. This is what the engine is giving.
Check.
Wants to return the pawn like that. Not return. Give up the pawn like that. Yeah, okay, black has drawing chances here, of course. The question is it a draw? Total draw. It's almost the same as we had before. Yeah, it is the same thing. It's still a draw. So that means that knight d7 was a good option. I don't necessarily have to take on d7 immediately. This move maybe for knight f4. Yeah, he can defend much tougher. This is really giving me a huge edge now, because after taking, as we have seen in the game, he's basically lost, and otherwise I'm going to take and play d6, and then the combined pressure here on b7 by the knight and the bishop will always be decisive. Yeah, he defended okay, but just a bit too passively. It will haunt you at the end. Yeah, if you play too passive a defense, the likelihood that it will hold is not so high. Okay, well, thanks for watching.